NewsX World. Tonight we begin with what the world is watching most closely. Could Iran strike back with force against Israel and the United States? This question comes after the strikes on its nuclear facilities. How might Iran respond militarily? After the United States launched a bold strike on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, sharply raising the stakes in the volatile Iran-Israel conflict, US President Donald Trump called the operation very successful and warned Iran to back down or face far harsher consequences. So what could happen next as tensions soar? First, Iran could retaliate by launching missile attacks on US bases across the region, putting American personnel at risk and prompting heightened security measures in Washington and in New York. Second, Israel may declare full alert and prepare preemptive strikes against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to cripple its military strength. Thirdly, Iran might activate its allies, including Hezbollah, Shiite Muslims, militias and other proxies, to open multiple fronts against Israel, despite their current weakened state. On the global stage, China and Russia are urging restraint while quietly supporting Iran, with Russia warning that an attack on Iran's nuclear sites could spark a disaster comparable to Chernobyl. We're now joined by So we will find out. The world watches and waits for Iran's response. After the United States launched a bold strike on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, sharply raising the stakes in the volatile Iran-Israel conflict, US President Donald Trump called the operation very successful and warned Iran to back down or face harsher consequences. So what could happen next as tensions soar? First, Iran could retaliate by launching missile attacks on US bases across the region, putting American personnel at risk and prompting heightened security measures in Washington. Second, Israel may declare full alert and prepare preemptive strikes against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to cripple its military strength. Third, Iran might activate its allies, including Hezbollah, Shiite militias, and other proxies, to open multiple fronts and target Israel, despite their current weakened state. On the global stage, China and Russia are urging restraint while quietly supporting Iran, with Russia warning that an attack on Iran's nuclear sites could spark a disaster comparable to Chernobyl. Okay, so we wait for Iran's response. There has been talks of possible missile and drone strikes against Israel or US bases, a possible deployment of proxies in Syria, Lebanon, Iraq and Yemen. There's also could be naval aggression in the Strait of Hormuz. And obviously a field you sometimes forget, cyber attacks on US and Israeli defense infrastructure might be a possible target for the Iranians. We're now joined by Zamir Abbas Jaffrey, who's a professor at the Al Mustafa International University. He joins us from Iran. Thank you very much, Zamir, for joining us on the program. We want to talk about military capabilities first. Iran has said that it will retaliate. No one is quite sure how yet, but we wait. I just wanted you to give us a bit of scope into Iran's capabilities now militarily, what possible actions that they can take next against the United States, against Israel in this conflict?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. First of all, before whether Iran will respond and how Iran will respond, first of all, let's first discuss the legal aspect of it. Whatever has happened, the attack by United States, it's an illegal action, it's an act of war, and almost all the countries of the world, except few countries who are European and Americans, and who think they're the fathers of the world. The rest of the countries in the world, majority of the population in the world has condemned American action. And Iran by law has the full right to respond in the way that they think appropriate at the time what they think is appropriate. Without any doubt, Iran will respond. And definitely in the war, there are two kinds of questions. One is, what is the power of any country to hit back? And another is, what is the power of any country to accept the casualties or accept the, after they are hit back, how much are they able to actually sustain and resist after being hit? So when Iran hits back, the point is, at that point of time, it'll be very difficult for America to actually sustain and take this war ahead. What can Iran do? The first and the foremost thing is they have bases all over Middle East. So in Iran in the past, when they killed Qasem Soleimani, what Iran did was Iran hit Ain al-Assad, an air base, which was American air base in Iraq. What happened? America was not able to respond, and everybody knows how severe that attack was. So in Iran, in the past, has proven that it can hit American bases, and America is very vulnerable. America is cornered right now. Let's accept this. The tone in which whether it's Rubio, whether it's Trump, or whether all the administration is talking, they're saying, oh, if you hit back, it'll be very bad. We want peace. Let's have peace. So they understand how severely Iran can hit back to all the American bases. Now the question is, can America respond again? Yes, America can respond. So, but the idea is now there are two parties, it's a boxing match where the two parties both are able to hit each other at the position and with precision wherever they want. So it's not what America and Iran can do. The problem is whether America and Israel can sustain this war for long term, because Iran can sustain this war for long term. Can America and Israel do that? That is the real question. And America at the moment is cornered because they have 40,000 soldiers in the Middle East. What will happen to them if Iran starts responding? Last 30 seconds I'll take. What Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has clearly stated is this. He has said that when America enters this war, or if America enters this war, the casualty that America will face will be much severe than what Iran will face. Iran might face problems, but the problems that America will face will be much more severe. So this is what is very clear, that America at the moment is very weak and feeble. Given the present situation, they have lost war in Afghanistan, they have created chaos in Iraq. What they did in Libya, the world knows. What happened in Syria, the world knows. The chaos they created in the Middle East and the West Asia, the world knows. And they're exposed in the Middle East. People hate them, and they cannot sustain a long-term war with Iran. And Iran knows this. And what Iran is planning is for a long-term sustained war, which is where America will feel very weak.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor. Please stay with us. We have some breaking news coming out of Tehran. Israeli forces have struck Iran's Ministry of Energy in a new wave of airstrikes on the capital. The strike comes as Israel's defense minister issued a defiant statement vowing to continue military operations until all war objectives are met. The minister's office warned that any attack on Israel's home front would be met with severe punishment, promising strikes will continue with full force against the Iranian regime. We're now joined by Vibhuti Jha, the former Republican Party candidate located in New York. I just want to get some insight from you. What do you think are the current capabilities of the Iranian military, given the constant barrage of Israeli artillery and now the weakening in regards to their nuclear program? What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much for having me. The issue is very crystal clear that Iran, Israel and America want to strongly respond to the Iranian virtual chanting, death to America, death to Israel. So when hate drives a particular foreign policy agenda, which is also religious slant to it, then you have a complication. As I have always believed, I have always personally believed that the entire world's flashpoints and war that is going on has religious root to it, the way religion is practiced. Nothing wrong in religion, the way you want to live your life. Nothing wrong in it, culturally, or the way you want to live your life. But if you want to impose my way or highway philosophy, it will create tensions and fissures, and that's what is at the root of it. It is virtually a fight between reviving the age-old, centuries-old jihad versus crusade. This is the 21st century version of it. So that's what you are seeing it unfold. Here is another very important point, and it's a tragic thing, and I'm not happy about it, saying what I'm saying, that ever since the United States, I came to America in 1991, I've been hearing Bill Clinton in 95, down the line till 2016, Biden 2020. Every single president has talked about Iran will not have the nuclear weapons, right? Nobody did anything. Now came this president came in and he decided to do something about it, right? So when a particular country faces an existential threat, I mean, from Ahmadinejad onwards that I have been hearing, bomb Israel out of place. You don't do that to human beings. That is at the root of all the problem that the world is facing. And add to that, I want to add here, it's a very critical element for the rest of the world to understand that European imperialism and colonialism drew the map of the world in Middle East, in Asia, in India, Pakistan, China. The imperialists and colonialists of the Europe drew the map of Europe, of Asia and every part of the world in the way they wanted. So much so that the British used to say, oh, Lawrence of Arabia and Churchill drew the map of Middle East in an Egyptian restaurant on the napkin. That was the arrogance of the European imperialism, colonialism. And if you look at it, every single trouble spot in the world, every single flashpoint in the world has the stamp of European imperialism and colonialism. Sad part, that the Islamic world is falling for it and Asia is falling for it. So remember, this understanding the root is very critical if you want to find a solution. If you don't want to solve a problem, then keep on playing with the words, playing with emotions. Iran definitely has the capability, and I said this soon after 9/11, that this is a very important part for the rest of the world to know. I was told by a very significant Islamic friend of mine that, Mr. Jha, we Islamic world do not have the strength and capability to fight against a non-Islamic country individually, because even our weapons are supplied by the West and others. But we have the strength and capability to indulge in what is known as the guerrilla tactics, which in modern warfare is also called terrorism, that you can terrorize people. So Iran's capability is very severe. But remember one thing, you have Iran-related sympathetic people all over the world. And what the West is worried about is not about a war, not a direct war, but blowing up a bridge, blowing up a shopping mall, and creating economic disruption, which will shake the faith of the people in the way the governance is happening. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this. We are entering a very critical phase of Call it terrorism, call it war, any which way you want to call it. And definitely, you do not need an army to cause a upheaval in any domestic society.
Yes, thank you. Zamir, I want to come back to you briefly. Do you believe under this regime that Iran will respond directly with missile or drone strikes on either the American bases or the Israelis, or rely on proxies like Hezbollah, like the Houthis? What are your thoughts?
There are many points which Mr. Jah has mentioned, and definitely we need time to discuss all those points.
Yes.
First was the point of imperialism and colonialism. I 100% agree that wherever you see any problem in the world, if you go and just dig the problem, you'll find America behind it. Whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is Iraq, whether it is Libya, whether it is Syria. So unfortunately, it was not religion. Religion was used as a tool, but America, like Hillary Clinton, clearly stated that we created Taliban, and we created this jihadi movement inside Taliban. So whether you look at the terrorism concept in Pakistan, it was funded by Saudi Arabia, and it was planned by America. And America and Saudi were friends, and they actually funded this whole concept of terrorism, whether it was in Taliban in Afghanistan, or whether it was Pakistan, which was at that point of time one of the source of this Afghanistan and Taliban belt was the source of all the terrorism, which is called terrorism at that point of time, because they were fighting Russia. They were their friends, and America really loved it. They funded it and they created it. So, I mean, very simplicity, that, oh, religion is the cause of all the problems. It's very naive way to look at it. But we can have a long discussion on this topic, whether religion is the source of the problem or politically pushed agenda behind religion was the real cause. Secondly, he also talked about that the chant of how Iran is going ahead and the concept of terrorism. Very respectively, I would like to ask one incident anywhere in the world which was of a terrorist attack where Iran was behind it, except those cases where there was direct confrontation with Israel and there was a freedom movement, whether it was all the freedom movements which are in neighboring countries of Israel, which you call it as a proxy. But in fact, if you look at India and if you look at the history of India, you would clearly state that those colonialists, even Mahatma Gandhi, who was very, very pro peace and non-violence, he also said, Karo ya maro. He said, do or die. He reached a situation where he said, to get the British out, you need to do or die. So accept this freedom movement, and this terrorism and the so-called terrorism and blowing up of Iran has never been involved. And Iran and the Shia ideology of Islam condemns it, and it will never ever
so sorry. We have to move on, Professor Abbas Jafri. We move on to our next segment now. From missiles to markets, could